Welcome to the Answer is Yes podcast, where we interview some of the most interesting people that have said yes to opportunities in their life. We hope that through these stories, you can learn to create your own destiny by saying yes along the way. Join us as we explore the new series covering topics such as passion, integrity, and hard work. I'm your host, Jim Riley, and I hope you enjoy these interviews as much as I do. I believe that everyone has an important message worth hearing. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing Anna Sparks from sparkssystems.net. And, we talk a lot about on the show about being open to receiving and meeting others and just having that, that outward willingness to say hello. And while I was in line at the airport to get on my flight coming home from Guadalajara a few weeks ago, I met a consultant for Anna, and he started to tell me about her business and how they're helping other people. And she has a 3-pillar approach to helping others, and I just absolutely love where her head's at. And I think as business people, our health has a lot to do with our business success. And Anna talks about the nutrition, your personal movement, and really almost most importantly, your breathing and how important of a role that plays in your health and well-being. So I just absolutely adored Anna on the phone and our pre and post conversations, and I feel like we'll be friends for a very long time because I love what she's doing. And you can tell during the interview that she's got a smile on her face, especially as she talks about her father. So please enjoy this interview with Anna Sparks. Hello and welcome to the Answer is Yes podcast. I am on a roll this week. I've had several wonderful guests that we've pre-recorded, and the guests just keep on coming in. And I've got Anna Sparks on the phone today. How's it going out there? We are in Arizona, right?
Correct. Yes, sunny Arizona. Things are great. Having an awesome day.
You only threw in sunny because I'm out in Montana. I'm looking at snow out my window right now, right?
Absolutely. I'll tell you, it is like we are on an island here in Arizona. It's whenever I go to travel, I'll start packing and don't ever really think about that other places in the country don't have the sunshine. And next thing you know, I've only got tank tops packed. And then I arrive somewhere like a Montana and all I have is to layer on tank tops and freeze. So yeah, it is really nice. It's a wonderful time of year to be in Arizona. So I'm very thankful.
Yeah, I bet. My wife left this morning from Montana to California, and I said, well, did you check the weather? And she said, no, I didn't think about it. I said, well, you better check the weather because you're packed for cold, and I bet it's warm down there. And she's like, you're right. It's 80 degrees all week. So we know the opposite is true. So
yeah.
We were connected through happenstance, one of those being open to meeting people, and I met a friend of yours on an airplane, and he was telling me all about Spark Systems and what you do at your company. And, I want to learn a lot about that, but can you give us some of your background so we can have an idea of where you've been and what got you to where you're at today?
Absolutely. So I grew up, actually born in Indianola, Mississippi, home of the late B.B. King.
Mm-hmm.
And then pretty early on, we moved to Arkansas. And I spent most of my life growing up in Northwest Arkansas I was a Razorback. And then I actually did my undergrad and my master's degree at Ole Miss, the University of Mississippi. And then after I finished my master's degree, I took a internship at Auburn University. I was working in strength and conditioning and did an internship at Auburn and then ended up taking a job, my first job out of college at the University of Arkansas with their soccer team. And so I was one of the assistant women's soccer coaches for the Lady Razorbacks.
Oh, wow.
And so I coached at Arkansas for about 4 years. And then got a call one day from Arizona State and actually ended up moving out to Arizona State in order to coach for the Sun Devils. And started coaching here. It was around 2008 and just decided that, as I was coaching, I loved it. It was an incredible experience every day in that I really felt like with these girls, they were in this really pivotal moment, time in their lives, and I had a really big impact. So crazy part was when I started at Arkansas, though, I was only 22 years old. I was probably the youngest coach in the SEC. And so at Arkansas, Arkansas and Ole Miss are in the same conference. So actually there was a little bit of overlap between some of the upperclassmen at Arkansas that I actually played against when I was playing collegiately at Ole Miss, and now I'm their coach. And so that was kind of an interesting little twist, but it actually worked out so well in my favor in that I was still able to play with the girls. I was able to do all of their fitness, gain their respect as well. And then, and then just began to really develop my own coaching philosophy, and then carried that on to Arizona State. And while I was at Arizona State, I just decided that I still wanted to be competitive myself. And I actually started doing some dabbling in some triathlon stuff. I'd always run, but I found the bike and really enjoyed riding the bike. And so ended up deciding that I wanted to focus just on the bike. And I actually started doing a little bit of racing, got called into the Olympic Training Center, and then ended up getting picked up by a women's professional cycling team. And so I thought, I've got 1 year that I could take off and I could try this professional cycling thing. I've got enough money put away to, pay my mortgage and my bills and everything. And so why not? Why not give it a go?
Yeah.
Why not say yes? And so I did. And 1 year turned into 6 years that I raced on the women's pro circuit. And what a ride. It was incredible. I retired from racing bikes probably almost close to 2 years ago now. But I've met some of my, some incredible people and people that are still, my dear, dear friends, and that will be with me, for the rest of my life. So, so that brings me up to about 2 years ago. But while I was racing, I always worked. And my work consisted of, I was a coach, and I coached other cyclists, mountain bikers, triathletes, runners. But everything I did, I could do over the phone or the internet. And so I was able to race professionally anywhere in the world and still be able to coach my athletes. And but all of the coaching that I did was always based off of the data that I collected from what we call metabolic testing. And you may know it as like VO2 max testing. That's what most people would recognize. You've seen the Gatorade commercials where, they have the mask on their face and they're running real fast on the treadmill. And so that's essentially very similar to a metabolic test, except that you don't have to necessarily go that hard as you see in those commercials. And so once you measure someone's metabolism by doing this metabolic test, now I was able to not only provide them with the exercise intensities and the training plans, but I was now able to actually tell them how to combine the proper nutrition with that training to make sure that we were maximizing their performance. Because again, if you're not putting the proper fuels in the tank, it really doesn't matter what you're doing training wise. You're not going to get the most bang, right?
Yeah, no, right.
So, so I started Spark Systems, which is a health and performance coaching company. And everything that we do is based off of our metabolic testing in order to provide our clients with the proper nutrition, the proper movement, and the proper breathing. And that breathing really being that stress management component. And it has been such a fun ride, and I feel that the impact that we are having on the world is phenomenal. And I just get so excited every day to wake up and know that I can change people's lives and I can empower them with the tools, to take control of their health.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a bit about, my story and where I'm at.
My listeners know I'm going to circle back on a whole bunch of stuff you just talked about. We let you run. We let you run with that one like we would a cyclist, but now we're going to dig in on a few things, and we're going to come back to Spark Systems because, reading through your website and learning about, like beating diabetes, weight loss and all these things that are such a concern for society today, just in general. And we live in states, I was in California most of my life, here in Arizona, where there's a lot of healthy people around us because of the lifestyles of those states, but there's a lot of unhealthy people across the country that could really benefit from the teachings that you guys have. So, yes, I want to circle back on that. I want to go back to, and you brushed by it so quickly, and I didn't stop you. You were a coach at such a young age. And, to me, I've always just looked up to coaches, and I'm thinking, okay, if I was on that team and here's somebody teaching me only a few years older than me, how would I feel? But clearly you had the talent and the ability, and you said yes to being a coach. How did that start, and how did you feel being a coach at such a young age?
I grew up, I had been playing soccer, since I was 4, and I had a lot of coaches, over the years. And those coaches, I'll tell you what, I would pour my heart and soul out for them. And so it's almost like I knew how to be coached, but I also, during those times, like I was kind of taking from each of those experiences and kind of beginning to create my own coaching philosophy. And I knew how much of an impact those coaches had on me. And for me, I wanted to have that same impact on other athletes, or other people that I coached. And at the time it was very athlete focused. But now I would say that, I've kind of taken those skills and those attributes, and now I can apply it. They really apply to everyone, and being able to, like I said, empower these people and teach them, because that's at the end of the day, that's what a coach is. They're a teacher. And so, yes, I just happen to be super fortunate to be so young and knowing that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with people. I wanted to serve, and, happened to align myself with the right opportunities in order to do that.
Yeah. Where did you get the confidence from? Because I think when we put ourselves in that role of coach, leader, manager, we've got to have the confidence to do that as well and raise our hands for the job. Did that come from your parents or some successes early on? Where'd you get the confidence from?
I will say that my dad played such an integral part in my life. My mom is exceptional, but my dad, he was everything to me. And my dad told me at a really young age, he said, "Anna, you are special. You can do anything that you want to do, anything. And your mom and I will be here to support you." And I'll never forget that. And I always held on to that. And at a very early age too, I just thought, I'm going for it. Whatever I want, whatever I can dream, whatever I can see, I'm going for it. And they supported me. And so they were, a huge part of that, and especially my dad, and so for you having, 2 young girls, and just know that, man, they need that. They need that. You instill them with that confidence. And I'll tell you what, it will reap benefits for them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I think I'm fortunate that I have a good understanding of that, because I didn't receive that when I was younger. I had great parents, but I didn't receive that level of encouragement. I tell my girls every day that they're special, that they can be whatever they want to be. Mm-hmm. I could tell you were smiling when you brought that up about your dad. He's special to you.
Very special. Very special. He's my boy.
Yeah, I love hearing that. So you spent a number of years coaching. You went to Arizona. How was the transition? Did it adapt well for you? Clearly you had some success at doing it, but did you feel good about it?